Hi, tell me, do you believe there are some people who can see the future? Or people who can predict misfortunes or sudden luck? Do you believe some people are able to heal with a touch of their hands? Or impose a terrible curse with a single glance? Well, I sincerely believe this was all nonsense and stupid fairy tales for dumb adults. Until one day, I came across it. Oh, forgive my manners. My name's Olivia. I'm 17. I am a psychic. I can foresee the future. These abilities may be an innate talent that needs to be developed since childhood, or they may suddenly appear. For example, after a strong emotional shock or an accident. You want to know how I acquired these paranormal abilities and what it's like for me to live knowing what would happen next? Then make sure you watch this video to the end. And yeah, I can already see your finger reaching for the button to click thumbs up. Okay, here we go. It all happened a few months ago. Our whole class went on a hike together. Well, it was our little tradition. When another school year was over, we went together on a joint hike to enjoy nature. There was nothing bad to expect. The weather was warm and sunny. We were hoping to have a great weekend and a lot of fun. At first, everything was fine as usual. A noisy fuss when we arrived. A quick camp construction, cooking dinner, scary stories at the bonfire. It was just what the doctor ordered after a long school year and difficult exams. Our class was very friendly. Over the years of studying together, we got closer. We have always helped each other. We supported each other in difficult times of final tests and exams. There was a couple in our class, Anthony and Monica. We called them Tony Moni. They had been inseparable since high school. They called each other by cute nicknames and sometimes infuriated everyone a little with their sweet relationship. I don't know how it happened, but during the hike, they started fighting. Monica thought Anthony was flirting with another girl. She got offended and went alone in the forest to cry. Despite the fact we knew this forest like our 10 fingers, walking there at nighttime could be dangerous. Some wild animals lived there. Besides, there were ravines where it was too easy to get lost. Anyway, it was extremely dangerous there. It was enough to get distracted for a minute, and you can get into big trouble. Apparently, this is what happened to Monica, because she didn't return to the camp after 2 hours. We got worried. Anthony panicked. He told everybody about it, and the teacher decided we needed to go in small groups to search for Monica. Things were complicated by a thunderstorm. Heavy black clouds were hanging over us, which were about to pour out at any minute. The sky was illuminated by bright flashes of lightning, and loud thunderclaps frightened even the bravest ones. Monica was probably also scared. We went into the forest armed with flashlights. We agreed we would leave special marks on the trees so as not to lose our way to the camp. It already got too dark, and sometimes it was just impossible to see the way. After half an hour of searching, it started raining. Fortunately, our teacher soon texted in our common WhatsApp chat that the girl had been found and we could go back to the camp. I was in a group with 2 girls. We breathed a sigh of relief and hurried away from the forest. We were almost to the camp when I fell a little behind the group. My shoelace got untied and I bent down to fix it. It took a few seconds, but a bright flash of lightning struck a huge stone next to me. It blinded me, and then an electric current went through my body. It's a rather strange feeling, like a strong tickle. But then my whole body started burning, and my heart started beating furiously. I screamed, and then I fainted. I never thought lightning could really hit a person. I came to my senses, and I was already in the camp. The teacher and my classmates were bending over me, and for the first few seconds, I couldn't understand who I was and what had happened. I felt a terrible heaviness all over my body, and I wanted to sleep. The teacher said he called the rescuers, who should arrive any minute and take me to the hospital. A lightning strike could have serious consequences, even if there was no external damage. I nodded weakly and fell asleep. The next time I woke up, I was in the hospital. My mom was sitting next to me. She noticed I was awake and called a doctor. It turned out I was lucky, and the lightning didn't directly hit me, but the stone. The electric current discharge I got was a consequence of my contact with a wet ground. I had burns on my hands. My limbs were slightly numb. I constantly felt tired and I wanted to sleep. But this was nothing compared to the fact most people basically didn't survive after being struck by lightning. The doctor said I needed to be observed in the hospital for a while. Then they would let me go home. And the next minute, something strange happened. The picture before my eyes seemed to blur. The doctor and my mom disappeared from the room, but my noisy classmates appeared there, and they were saying something to me, and Anthony was holding out a bouquet of flowers. But the fuzzy picture immediately disappeared, and I saw a real picture again. My mom and doctor were still in the room. They looked at me with concern. They both said for a few seconds I stared at the ceiling, and I didn't respond to their questions. A few minutes later, my mom and doctor came out. My classmates rushed into the room, and I realized the picture I saw was the future. To say I was afraid is an understatement. Did I get some paranormal abilities after the lightning passed through me? Was it just a deception of a sick mind? I didn't dare tell anyone about this because everyone would think I was crazy. For the next few days, I carefully watched what was happening to me, but I had no such visions any longer. The doctor said my condition had stabilized, so I could go home. As we were driving from the hospital the next day, I was looking out the window. I was thinking that during the days I spent in the hospital, I really missed walking. Suddenly, a terrible pain seemed to shoot through my head, and a fuzzy picture appeared again. It was an ambulance and a police car driving past us. Somewhere ahead, right on the road, there was an overturned car. A thick fog of smoke was coming out of there. The next second, I returned to reality, looking around, but everything was fine. My mom noticed I was worried about something. She asked me how I felt, but I said I was just okay. I didn't dare tell her anything. A few minutes later, we got stuck in a traffic jam. My parents were surprised. They said a traffic jam was a rare phenomenon during the daytime. Something must have happened ahead. Then, an ambulance and police cars rushed past us. Just like in that vision I had a few minutes ago. Could I really see the future? At home, I decided to Google the consequences of a lightning strike. According to many sources, people were unable to survive in this case. Or they can get serious injuries, burns, paralysis, complete hair loss, loss of vision. Of course, there were also some people who claimed they discovered special talents after a lightning strike. Like, they could move objects with the power of thought, read other people's minds, see through walls. Honestly, this looked just like some Superman or X-Men comics to me. But how then could I explain my visions? I read about a lot of people who claimed about their psychic abilities. They shared when they had come to their senses after a lightning strike, they started to see the future. Some of them could find missing people from photos or objects. Some people could cure diseases with a touch of their hands. I texted one of the women on the forum. I told her about my visions. She congratulated me, saying now I am the chosen, and I should develop my gift because it can be very valuable both for me and for other people. Even though the visions disappeared, I still felt I was chosen, and I started to behave a little different than I used to. First, I changed my clothing style. It seemed to me all psychics and witches only wear something dark. So every time we went shopping, I persuaded my mom to buy me something black or dark blue. I found a magic shop in our town and bought various psychic attributes there. Colorful candles, a magic ball, incense. Every evening, I tried to call up the visions again, but I was unsuccessful. The woman from the forum insisted I just needed to develop my skills, and then the pictures would come constantly. Of course, my parents noticed my strange behavior. My mom found the remains of burnt black candles in my room. She got very scared and demanded explanations from me. Considering it was pointless to hide anything, I shared with her that I could see the future. My mom got even more scared, and the next day she took me to a psychiatrist. Of course, it was a shame she didn't believe me, but I was sure the doctor would tell her that everything happening to me was true. He carefully listened to my story, then sent me for a brain examination. As it turned out, not in vain. The consequences of a lightning strike appeared in my brain. I won't go into details, but some small part of my brain was affected. As a result, I could have seen such pictures. In fact, they weren't the visions of the future. On the contrary, it was just the brain processing the events I saw. It seemed to me I saw them before they happened. Anyway, everything was more complicated and confusing. The doctor prescribed a treatment that would eliminate the visions. It was even a little insulting that I was not the chosen one. Tell me, do you believe in psychics? Do you think there are really some people around us who have special talents and abilities? Text your answers in the comments section. If you enjoyed my story, don't forget to click thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel to never miss new stories and click the bell button to stay tuned. See ya! Have a great day!